Hey everybody! Look at this happy crew of intergalactic friends all getting along and celebrating their journey across space. Nothing could possibly go wrong, right? I'm Hector Navarro and we're watching the newest clip from Alien Covenant here on Screen Junkies News. Hey Internet, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Hector Navarro. Like I said a second ago, we're watching a part of a new scene that was released from 20th Century Fox. Gave us a brand new scene from Alien Covenant, their follow-up to Prometheus, and it is a really cool, long 5-minute scene that shows us what it's like with all of these different characters interacting. It's being referred to as the Last Supper before they go into a cryosleep. But anyway, let's just watch a part of the clip right now. Let's just get into it. Here we go.
You've all sacrificed so much to be here. To be a part of this. It's the first ever large-scale colonization mission to go this far into our galaxy. You're making history. And everyone back on Earth is really grateful for your hard work and your courage.
Wow. Okay, so basically Fox wanted to show us the people that we're going to cry about. Here to help us break down some of the information that we know so far about Alien Covenant are Brianne Chandler and Dan Merle. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.
This is really exciting. Brianne, Alien is your favorite movie of all time.
Favorite of all time.
Well, how did you feel about Prometheus before we get into it?
I am one of the few that liked Prometheus.
Sure.
I found it to be an interesting tale, and I'm looking forward to this, especially from this clip. I've watched this clip probably 5 or 6 times now, so I'm very excited about this.
Dan, what are your thoughts before we talk about the information that we know of the scene that was released so far? What do you think?
Well, it's always exciting to know that Ridley Scott is going to be returning to the Alien universe. I think that I hate that conversation of like, which movie's better, Alien or Aliens? Because they're two completely different movies.
Totally different movies.
And
yeah.
I love what he did with the first Alien. Obviously, this is very reminiscent of that movie in many ways. So I'm very curious to see, is he setting all of this familiar stuff up to subvert our expectations? Or is he just kind of stealthily remaking Alien? One of those makes me more excited than the other one. I'm sure you could probably guess which one. But yeah, this is very similar to a lot of stuff from Alien.
Yeah. You're most excited if it's just a straight remake,
I just
right?
want a straight line for line remake. Yeah,
That's
exactly
what
I'd like. Yeah.
Okay, let's break some of this stuff down.
Yeah.
Here's what we know. Actress Catherine Watterson is playing the lead in the film. She's simply described as a survivalist named Daniels. We saw her getting a medical examination from Michael Fassbender's character, Walter, correct? That's the android that he's playing in the beginning of the scene. And then at the end, she's making the speech. She is, the captain is her husband. She is possibly like a second in command, or she has maybe like a high-ranking spot. She's supposedly married to the captain. And she also, I mean, guys, when we saw her getting that medical examination, and what she was wearing and her hair. What did we think? What was the first thing we
Ripley,
thought?
obviously.
It's Ripley. She's the new Ripley.
Which is great.
It's a combination of things from Alien and Aliens.
Yes.
It's kind of it seems to be kind of a merger of these two movies, its own little Alien movie xenomorph. We have Billy Crudup, who a lot of people are saying potentially could be the Paul Reiser type in this movie.
The company man,
The company man, the slime ball.
They let him on the ship. They're
exactly.
like, all right, we're going to put you on this time.
So, you know, there's rumors that we're seeing that. Yeah, I think that we saw James Franco, who is obviously sick with something.
What if it's just a cold?
What if he just has the flu?
It's those expectations.
What if he just has
We're all
the flu?
trying to
Right.
what if it's
How is
much
he
more simple than we
allowed
think?
to go into hypersleep with a flu? Like, you would have to wait, and I would think, I don't know anything about being on a
don't know.
spaceship
I'm not a
or
doctor.
going into hypersleep, but I would think you would have to get over that fever before you could actually like go into some sort of sleep mode for a long time.
Agreed. For each of these characters, guys, that we just hit on, first of all, we also have to mention Danny McBride.
Yes.
Danny McBride is playing a character named Tennessee, who is like the pilot.
Of course he is.
He has a hat. He reminds me of a G.I. Joe character because his name is Estate.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, he's the one with the hat.
It's like Zombieland meets This Is the End
Right.
in space.
But he's apparently
With
going to have
xenomorphs.
he's apparently going to have a large role in the film. And as we saw in the scene, him and his wife like to drink, which is great. But with each of these characters, let's go through. Catherine Waterston's character, the sort of Ripley-esque female lead or protagonist. What are the odds that she's going to survive? Let's give
Are
me
these
a
like
percentage.
spoilers? Like if
This
they
is all
actually happen?
Speculative, possible potential spoilers. Let's throw up a potential spoilers. There we go. Spoiler alert.
Because we might also talk Prometheus.
Absolutely,
too.
which we have to take that into
Okay.
account. And if you
I
haven't
just
seen
wanna make sure.
Prometheus,
Do we?
yeah.
Okay.
Because let's get
Just in
into it.
case.
First of all, before we do the percentages, Michael Fassbender is back in the
Right.
alien world. He's playing an android named Walter this go around. In Prometheus, he played an android named David.
Right.
He was up to no good.
David was up to no good, pretty sinister guy.
Yeah.
Again, spoiler alert, there's David from Prometheus. Spoiler alert,
Love
at the end of that
photo
movie.
him
So great. He ended up being just ahead
in a duffel bag.
in a duffel bag.
Just one, though, not
as
8.
They went to wherever it is that they were going to go to figure some stuff out. Now, rumors are that it's not a rumor. In fact, Michael Fassbender has a quote that I want to pull up right now about his character in Alien Covenant, and he says this: "I think Walter's a real different kettle of fish. David was definitely a work in progress, somewhat of a prototype, I suppose. The elements of him that were the human elements, I think people found a little disturbing. So Walter's more of a straightforward robot, pretty logical, much more of a servant without the ego." Really, really interesting. Here's the other thing that's interesting. This is the spoiler speculative rumors, and it's been confirmed that he's doing double duties and he's playing David again. Now, which version of David? I don't know. We know that this film takes place after
Is he just the
Prometheus.
head?
Is he just the head? We've got a picture of this is a
Is he
spoiler
playing the
picture.
piano?
Here's David. Apparently, when we grabbed this photo, when they released this image, it was listed as David.
Oh,
And
didn't know that.
when
Okay.
he's sitting at this piano, is it a thing where the rumors are that the characters in this film are going to meet David and potentially
Mm-hmm.
Noomi Rapace's character, who she played Elizabeth Shaw in Prometheus, when they arrive on this planet or whatever it is that they're arriving to. And he's just sitting there playing the piano. Does this mean he was rebuilt? Is this like a new building that they find?
Where did they
some
get
kind
a
of-
piano?
Where did they get a piano? What is this planet? So that's maybe a spoiler when these two movies or worlds meet. So really, really interesting. What do we think the percentage that Walter's going to survive, this android?
I mean,
Well-
could there only be one? Is this a Thunderdome situation with Walter and David? Or I don't know.
I would love a Fassbender versus Fassbender.
I mean, I think
That
it's
would be amazing.
I think it's fairly safe to assume that they're going to end up in the vicinity of the planet we were on before, because the kind of reveal at the end of Prometheus was that alien type creature that resembled the xenomorph that we know
Yes.
is there.
Yes.
So if we're going to get full on alien in this movie, then you're going to have to somehow link that back to this group of people. We know that, for in the chronology, they make reference to the fact that these are the first deep space colonists, which, we know later on, like that colony was, and aliens took place on a long established colony out in the cusp. So we know this is they're the pioneers, they're the first explorers.
Yeah. So let's talk percentages. Let's go to Fassbender's character, David. I'm going to say like 80% chance he's going to live. I feel like androids do pretty well for the most part in the Alien franchise.
Well, I don't know
They
about
get
that.
destroyed.
They get
but
destroyed a lot.
They make it to the end.
I
maybe
want to
I'm
see
wrong.
him survive. I want to see him maybe get a banjo or something. Then they can have a band together. David playing the piano, maybe on the cello
dueling
or
banjos?
something. Who
Okay,
knows?
dueling banjos. All right.
I would like to see him survive. I think that you're right. Androids have that longer expectancy
But
of life.
they do get like destroyed and disfigured and
sure.
whatnot. But David's still ahead.
I think
He's still
80%
around.
is pretty good.
Okay, all right. Let's talk Catherine Waterston, the lead in the movie. What's the percentage she's
Definitely
going to
living.
Ripley live?
Has to.
I mean-
want to. I want her to, no matter what.
That's
well, I
the
want everyone
question.
to live.
Is this just a remake of Alien, or is this going to subvert your expectations? I think everybody's going to go in expecting her to be the Ripley. Everyone's going to go in expecting her to be the one that lasts till the end of the movie. Are you just going to play
And
into
then
that,
maybe
or
there's
are
a
you
bait and
going
switch,
to?
and
Yeah,
Yumi's the only one that survives.
Exactly. Are you going to do something different? Like I desperately hope this is something different and not
Absolutely.
just Alien again.
James Franco as the captain, talking about things that are different. He's sick in the
he's a
beginning of
goner.
the
He's
scene.
dead. He's the
a goner.
first one
He's a
that's going
goner.
to die.
He's a
First one.
goner.
Man, but again, what if they subvert your expectations? What if
I
Ridley Scott's
promise
like
you
would
he
think?
doesn't have the flu.
Okay, you're probably
Plus,
right.
again, Walter, again, as we were saying, we saw him give in that medical examination. He's like, here, take your vitamin pack, and just like the one thing we have learned from that model of android is that you do not ingest anything that he gives you. I don't think they worked that kink out of the
But
system.
look, in the first Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a bad guy, and in the second one, he was a good guy, and he was the hero. So that might be the difference between David and Walter. Walter's just, like like Fassbender said, it's just a straightforward robot.
But there's still a T-1000.
Fair enough. Good point. Good point. So maybe in this movie, David's the T-1000. Oh, okay. I figured it out. Who knows? Danny McBride, the pilot, Tennessee.
Dead.
He's a goner, right?
Yeah.
0% he's going to live?
Very
Zero.
slim chance.
'Cause he's a
gonna
likable-
live.
Just because he's named Tennessee, I don't know if that really is he qualified for the scientific gatherings that are going to happen. I don't
he's
know.
not the scientist. He's the pilot.
That's
he's not
the
the
problem.
scientist. He's the pilot.
Actually, I take it back. He's the guy that you think died, but then at the very end is
Comes back.
shows up with blood on his face.
Yeah.
He's like, let's get out of here. Come
Yeah,
on.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I revised my estimate to thought dead, but ends up alive.
Billy Crudup, maybe potentially company man from maybe a representative of Wayland. What do you think, Billy?
Goner.
It's a goner?
I think that I feel like we should be asking who do you think's going to live out of this cast because I feel like everyone's going to die.
Yeah.
Which is okay with me actually. Although I would prefer to see people live.
Well, let's keep in mind,
But I'm
though, these
okay if they
people
die.
can't really live to tell the tale because no one had ever heard of the aliens and
Right.
Alien or aliens
That's the-
really
Gotta
still.
Work in the timeline.
That's the problem with prequels is you have to explain that. If you care
Yeah.
about that kind of thing, you have to go, well, why didn't the people in the next movie know about these groups
Exactly.
of people?
Right.
And then that's why you got to do Rogue One. That's what has to happen.
Exactly.
Here's another interesting thing I want to talk about. It seemed like every person on the ship was part of a couple. Everybody had like
Right,
a
they
wife
had
or
a
husband.
ring on.
Everybody had a wife or husband, which is crazy. They're just couplings. They're just groups of. Do you think that that's going to be the new thing? And do you think that Ridley Scott's doing that on purpose to get us to care for each one of these characters even more?
Isn't this, Carrie, about them more, sure, but isn't this mainly like about
colonization?
colonization?
Sure,
So
yeah.
you would
Okay.
have to have couples, I would
Yeah.
think.
But they could have easily crafted a science fiction film where the colonization is just like a bunch of single people, or what? The fact that they're going to
Sure.
everybody there has a husband or wife, and they're like in long-term relationships. I feel like that's new for a sci-fi survival horror thing.
But you want them to procreate, if you're
Right.
building a colony, you're building
Yeah.
a population, so it makes sense that
Did
you're going to send couples
Did they
out.
pick all these people because they're like, we want to have babies, but we'll wait until we get into space?
Yes.
amazing.
Cryousleep.
Possibly.
Okay. And again, we mentioned this briefly, but the other rumor is that Noomi Rapace, who played Elizabeth Shaw in Prometheus, is going to maybe we'll see her on the planet along with David. Do you guys think that that's what's going to end up happening?
For sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously we're seeing David. There's no doubt about that. And I believe it was confirmed that we're going to see her as well. So in terms of like how long is this we're just going to see her the last frame of the movie? Maybe. I don't know.
Is this something that is important to sort of bridge these movies together? Do we want an alien cinematic universe with all of the series and the spin-offs kind of coming together in one thing?
No.
Or is that not important to the series so far and what Ridley Scott and everybody who's worked on it has established?
I would hope that Ridley Scott learned from Prometheus that the mythology is not the important thing.
Yeah.
Telling a good story is obviously important, but
Yes.
Prometheus was all mythology, and it
definitely leaned
didn't
heavily
work
into
for
that.
me.
Sure.
Personally, it's just not a movie that I really enjoyed. So
It's a little rushed.
It was, yeah, and I just feel like it didn't know what it was. It was very
Mm-hmm.
ponderous for the first half, and then at the end, it was kind of like whatever. It's just an action movie, and it was too many things. So
Mm-hmm.
I just think that if he wants to weave these stories together, that's fine. But he needs to make sure that this is not reliant on an intricate understanding of Prometheus,
Right.
because I saw the movie and I still don't have an intricate understanding of Prometheus. So yeah.
I think that the Alien franchise is not one that has always asked its audience to rely on an intricate knowledge of the world and the chronology.
There's
and the different
aliens,
things.
and they bleed acid, and they'll kill you.
Yep.
That's it. That's really all you need to know.
All you need to know. And then maybe Jesus was a big, tall, bald, buff white dude.
Yes.
Maybe who seeded the planet. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know what all that was.
But guys, huge thanks to Brienne and Dan for being here and helping us break down a little piece of that scene. If you guys haven't seen the whole scene, go ahead and go do that. I think we've got a link in the description, probably, right? Yep, it's there. I'm getting the thumbs up. So click on that link and enjoy that whole scene. We want to know from you guys, who do you think is going to survive? Who do you think is going to die? Are you stoked for Alien Covenant? Give us your craziest theories. And if you think that you might be right on the money, maybe right before your comment, put a little spoiler. Like, spoiler, I know that I'm going to be 100% correct. Here's what I think is going to happen. We'd really appreciate that. Guys, we're Screen Junkies News. We're here every single day. You can be tweeting at us at SJ News. You can click here for more videos, probably. And I'm Hector Navarro. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.